I am going to walk you through the 4 steps in Canada's immigration system and why it is so oppressive against the Native population. Native Canadians are literally being replaced in their own country, and if you pipe up and say anything about it, you are silenced, not allowed to speak, and with new hate speech laws coming in the very near future, in all likelihood jailed for criticizing the government. I've already been banned from TikTok with 30,000 followers because I dare to criticize the immigration system in Canada, but I'm going to walk you through exactly how this system works. It's 4 simple steps and why it's so nefarious, and it rigs Canada's political system so that we don't live in a democracy. We live in a country where with demographic replacement, we are guaranteed to see Liberals continuing to win elections. So the first step is mass immigration. Everybody knows Trudeau got elected 2015. Numbers skyrocketed, particularly since the pandemic. Unprecedented rates of immigration, over 1 million in 3 consecutive years, another 1.5 million people in 2025. They've allowed, my estimation is about 8 million people in since 2025. Now 26.4% of the Canadian population is a first generation immigrant. And some will say, oh, this country was built on immigrants. You're telling me that qualitatively it's the exact same thing, bringing in immigrants from Ireland, from Scotland, from England 100 years ago, and today it's Afghanistan, all over the world, Mexico. You're telling me qualitatively that's the exact same thing? Many people coming from countries where they practice Sharia law, not democracies. They don't know democracy. These people, it used to be assumed that if you showed up as an immigrant, you'd assimilate. Now, anybody who lives in Canada knows we're not seeing assimilation. We're certainly not seeing assimilation. We're seeing sex break off with their own political interests. It's clear the country has transformed radically. Anybody who lives in country knows over the past 10 years, it is a radical transformation. The population is being replaced in Canada. Walk around any major city. I've lived in Toronto, in Montreal, in Ottawa. The shift is truly incredible. Second step, so you bring in about 1 million immigrants a year, unprecedented. As I said, now over 50% of immigrants are first or second generation. Over 1 in 4 are first generation. They overwhelmingly vote Liberal. Overwhelmingly across the board, it's over 85% of immigrants vote Liberal. So you bring it in. Carney never would have been elected without this mass immigration. The Liberals always lose the areas where more people have ancestors who fought World War I, World War II. All the immigrant-heavy areas are incredibly Liberal because they know the Liberals are the ones who are going to keep the... It's 85% in total of immigrants who are voting Liberal. You can break it down based on the exact demography, whether it be India, which is the country where most people are coming in from, Afghanistan, where we have a lot of people from the Middle East, a lot of people from Africa, but they overwhelmingly vote Liberal. So the second step is you bring millions of immigrants in, then they overwhelmingly in elections vote Liberal, so the Liberals win elections. It's just a fact. Anybody who denies that is denying reality. Immigrants overwhelmingly vote Liberal, and they change the voting patterns in this country majorly. Obviously, the third step is that Liberals win elections. As I said, Carney never would have won without this demographic. If you look at Canada voting in 2024, if we hadn't brought in 8 million people in the past decade, Poilievre would have won running away. But due to the mass immigration to Canada, the Liberals win election after election that they otherwise wouldn't. And the fourth step is that once the Liberals take power, they bring more people in and the cycle continues. They continue to open the floodgates. It's embarrassing. We're allowing 1.5 million people in the country this year between permanent and temporary workers. There are 3 million so-called temporary workers in Canada right now that I can guarantee you are not going to leave. I've listened to podcasts that threaten violence if they have to leave. They are staying here, and they open the floodgates. Carney's allowing another 1.5 million people in 2025. They say it's a step back. 2026, they're still allowing over 1 million people in. It's not what the Canadian people want. Our country has transformed so radically. The Canadian people have had enough. They're saying enough is enough. We want the vast majority of Canadians want a moratorium on immigration, not over 1 million more people coming in. Study after study showing the damaging effect it has on our economy. It's undoubted. Our unemployment rate in the real world is probably over 10%. They say it's 7.1, which would be the second highest in the G7, but it's probably more like 10%. Youth unemployment rate of 22%, leader in the G7. And economic study after economic study giving clear indications that immigration are damaging the economy for native-born Canadians. So it's just a self-perpetuating cycle. Bring people in, they don't assimilate, they go into their groups, they vote overwhelmingly Liberal, the Liberals win the election, and they enforce policies that continue to bring people in. If we don't fight this back, if we don't get a moratorium on immigration, this country is going to be permanently gone. Demographics, our destiny. You already see the hate mobs on our street, the attempts to shut anybody down, the Orwellian style of governing the Liberal Party has taken, where they want to shut anybody up who criticizes them. This is the time to shout the loudest, because if this demographic replacement is allowed to continue for even the next couple of years, this country is permanently gone. The country that our ancestors fought and died for is going to be gone. That's why I started the Fight for Canada Party. We are actually going to call out the Liberal politicians on exactly what they're doing, replacing the Canadian population. That is exactly what they're doing. Don't go for their gaslighting. Don't go for the lying. And we need people who are actually willing to stand up and say what it is they're doing and demand a total moratorium on immigration for at least the next 5 years. Nobody knew coming into the country, and pointing out what the Liberals are doing, importing voters. This is changing the country, and changing the country for the worst, economically, culturally. It's who gives a shit what name they call you? They're going to hate you no matter what if you don't say a man can become a woman and a woman can become a man. Who gives a damn what these freak shows say about you? That's why I'm at 223 names. I need 250, so please register if you're interested. I'm going to get the party up and running so that there's more weight behind me, and keep criticizing these creeps. It's time to fight. The time to fight back is absolutely now as a Canadian. If we don't get things turned around in a very short period of time, this country is going to be gone. It's going to be gone for good. Don't trust that bug-eyed Mark Carney who spends his days hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, who's a total creep. Look into Tavistock, where he sent his transsexual kid. That you can just tell looking at the dead-eyed man, he's evil. There's something seriously wrong with this man. When you look at Liberal Party leadership, whether it be Carney, whether it be Trudeau, the child CP, getting rid of the mandatory 1 year minimum sentence for the most heinous crime you could ever imagine, the culling of ostriches the other day, consistently letting criminals back out on the streets, making our streets more dangerous, even though we know the Toronto Police Services and across the country, police services underreport crime numbers. We know that they're up massively. And if you live in our cities, you absolutely know it's up massively. Ottawa itself admitted that across the board crime rates are up 63% in the past decade alone. You know they're jigging the numbers as best they can. We need to take this country back, and we need to take this country back now. So please register. I'm also looking for staff members. We're going to start organizing meetings, figuring out what we can do to fight against these tyrants who currently call themselves the Canadian government, but they want the absolute worst for the Canadian people. They hate us. It's time for Canadians to stand up, do our ancestors proud, and fight to take this country back. So please register. There's a registration button directly underneath. Like, share, subscribe, join, become a member, grab some gear, donate. Really appreciate everybody who supports. Next steps are going to be coming once I have those signatures. Going to get the information into Elections Canada. It's time that we fight back against these creeps that want to destroy our beautiful country.